So I'm walking around in the rain, just looking for rainy day photos to take, test out this new camera. And I'm noticing that all of a sudden there's like an army of snails all crossing the street at the same time. Look at this. There's a snail right there. There's also a snail right here. But then I look out over there, I say, what's this? Oh, holy shit. Oh, they're everywhere. Look, there's a snail right there. And there, and there, and there. There's 3 more. 2 more. Another one. 2 more. 2 more. Another one. Another one. This one's on the wall. This one's higher up on the wall. Like, everywhere I look all down the road, there are just dozens and dozens of snails climbing over this wall, down onto the road, and then crossing the street. I mean, I'll walk up here. I'll walk 20 feet up the road. And if I walk 20 feet up the road, now I'm here. Check this out. There's another snail. And I come over and, oh, look. There's a snail. 2 more snails. Like, they're fucking everywhere. Look, this one is still coming over the top. They're down by my feet right now, but look, this one. There he is. Still hasn't quite made it. Oh, but these ones down here, they're making progress. Look at this. Another snail. Another snail. Another snail. More snails. Oh, this one's caught in the bush right here. This one's still making its way down the wall. I have changed my estimate. It is no longer dozens of snails. I'm convinced there is, as I look around in each direction, all the way down this way, all the way down this way, what's already across the street, what's still trying to come over. I mean, look at this. Just these cinder blocks alone. Look. Look. 2 more on the ground. 1 on those cinder blocks. 2 more hanging over the edge. 1 inside the cinder block. 1 on the wall right there. More by the door over there. Like, there's actually probably hundreds of snails. That might be a totally normal thing that I've just somehow never noticed, but to me, that's fucking crazy. The new camera I was talking about was this. Ricoh GR, version 1. I had the version 2, and I hated it. The version 2, Ricoh GR Mark II, was actually one of the very few cameras that is on my very short list of cameras that I hated owning. And I'd never recommended, and I would bitch about endlessly to anybody who talked about how great they were. As you can imagine, I was always quite outspoken. I very frequently found myself in forums and YouTube comment sections and even rooms with other photographers where I was the only one that had anything negative to say about the legendary Ricoh GR. But the version 2 that I had was awful and I hated it. However, so far, this one, this Mark I, I'm actually pretty happy with. It seems pretty nice. And I'm trying to see what I want to take photos of. Now, I've taken photos of this before. It's the street that comes up, and then suddenly there's this opening where this green metal fence has been knocked down, and you see all these different colors of barrels sticking out on the road. And that would be a great shot, maybe if it was sunny or if there were more shadows, but specifically if there was somebody walking in front of that, that'd be a better shot. Could also come to this side of the road and look back at this building. This being an old workshop, having the rusty door, the barred windows. Again, if somebody was walking past that, maybe smoking a cigarette or using an umbrella, something, it would be quite interesting, and I think I could make a good shot out of that. But as it is right now, there's nobody out here but me, and I don't think there's anything to take photos of except for these fucking snails. Alright, so as it turns out, I just Googled it, and it's not a problem with my card. I figured it was a problem with the card, maybe the camera, but it's actually a known issue with the Ricoh GR and the version 2, the GR2, that from time to time it'll just geek out and say that the card needs to be formatted. You have to take the card out and put it back in. It usually fixes it, and that's what I did. I just took the card out, put it back in, and it fixed it. It happened again later in the day and took it out, put it back in, it fixed it. But then the last time that it happened, I kept taking it out and putting it back in, and it kept saying format. So I just just blew into the slot, and it's been fine ever since. So I don't know what the issue is. Maybe it's a connection problem. I don't know. But apparently it's a known issue, and it doesn't go any further than that. It's just kind of annoying sometimes. But as far as the image quality goes, again, I haven't learned. I've just been shooting this thing for 2 days. I've only put a few photos into Lightroom twice now and spent just a few minutes doing some basic adjustments. I haven't really learned a workflow with how these raw files react to various types of editing, so I don't have my flow down yet, but I can show you how the image quality looks with some of these photos. So this was a shot that I took from the front seat of my car. I was driving and pulled over to get gas, and my mother-in-law and my son were in the back seat. I just turned around real quick, took the shot, and did some basic edits in Lightroom. Obviously, you can see like around her arm here, there's some the color's off a bit. Same with the lips. There's little offsets. I really need to go in and fix hues and whatnot. But for some quick basic editing, I'm actually really impressed with this. One of the things I noticed is that it's this version 1 is much sharper than the version 2, the Ricoh GR2 that I had before. One of the things I noticed was that here on her face, I actually went in with a brush and I softened up the face because it looked too detailed. I could see every little pore and crack and line and everything else. And although I like seeing that detail, I knew that when she saw the photo, she wouldn't like it as much for obvious reasons. So I actually lowered the clarity and softened up and lowered the contrast to make her skin appear a bit softer and less detailed. So this is actually giving me very sharp photos. This was in a local Carrefour. I went ahead and did some gradiating filters. I just took it from the edge, drug it into the middle, this edge, drug it to the middle, top down, and then from the corners, and just kind of darkened it, played with the hues a little bit, so it looked kind of like more like they were in an arcade. But this was a father-son. What I liked about it was that the lighting over here actually had a very warm cast, a warm reflection, warm lighting reflection off the floor. He was also wearing an orange warm shirt, and this side of the game display was actually reddish orange. So everything over here was very warm, and it just so happened this half of the photo, because of the videos they were playing on these screens and the lighting that was being used, it was actually very cool over here. And then this kid was wearing a blue shirt, which is very cool, and this side of the game display was like purple or blue or something, so it looked cool. So I just kind of I played off of that when I was adjusting my hues to kind of amplify the warmth over here and amplify the cool over here to show the stark contrast. This was right outside the Carrefour. I've been going to the same exact spot and taking photos of this construction process, because when we moved into this neighborhood, none of this stuff was here. This was actually a big kind of open park area in front of an old temple. None of this was here, and they were just starting to break ground for the MRT. So every few months I come back to this exact same spot. I usually stand over here, and I come to this exact same spot, and I usually take a shot this direction and then come over here where I took this photo and took one in this direction. And I want to after a few years, when it's all said and done, I want to be able to compare all the photos so you can see it being built up over time. But this is an MRT station. Obviously, you know, MRT comes in here. That's where people dock. There's a little sky bridge that goes over to the main building here. But it's getting pretty close to done now. So I might have this photo project finally complete after years and years of taking photos and tracking the progress. This, again, is part of the construction process. They're widening the road to compensate for the fact that the entire middle has been taken up by the new median. But I'm really impressed with how detailed the arm of this looks. I didn't select any specific focus. It was just center focus, and I held the camera up over my head and kind of aimed it down and took this shot. Obviously, he was moving or something because he looks a bit soft over here. These people back here look a bit soft, which makes sense because it was shot wide open in there in the background. But right here in the center, man, where the arm of this thing is at, it looks so crisp and so sharp and so detailed. The colors are very vibrant. I'm actually really happy with just how everything on this arm of this backhoe looks. And this is actually the very first shot that I took with this camera. I bought the camera from the guy here at the Carrefour, and then it was raining outside, so we came in to kill some time. And as they were kind of goofing around and loving on each other, I just kind of held the camera down at my waist and took the shot. You can see he's looking up over the top of the camera, more looking at me. He didn't realize I was taking a photo. She's not even aware of what's going on. So as much as this looks like it's kind of posed, it's actually more of a candid shot. Again, the skin tones aren't quite right, and the temperature and hues are off a little bit, because the normal workflow I have on how I like to edit my photos is doing some funny things to the color of these files. So I'll have to nail down my editing with these files. But so far, I'm very happy with how the photo quality is turning out on this little pocket-sized camera. It's so far night and day difference, much better than the GR2 that I had a few years ago.